Okay, so we really need to talk about this. Niantic completely screwed up Dragon Week, and they set a lot of very unrealistic expectations among players, and of course that's going to lead to a lot of players being completely upset at Niantic regarding a specific Pokemon. And what Pokemon am I talking about? It is, of course, Dino. Now, when Dragon Week was announced, it was reported that Dino was going to be hatching from 7km eggs, and we could potentially get the shiny of this Pokemon. So naturally, a lot of players were really excited about this. Dino is, of course, a super rare Pokemon in Pokemon GO, and a lot of people were salivating at the idea of picking up a shiny Dino. But of course, Niantic failed to disclose how rare it was going to be from 7km eggs. And of course, it was not going to be spawning in the wild, which is ridiculous considering it is Dragon Week. So naturally, a lot of players are extremely upset right now, and I feel like a lot of that is completely justified. But that's what I'm going to be talking about in today's video. Let's get right into it. And how's it going, everyone? It's me, it's Count, here with a brand new Pokemon GO video. Today I'm going to be talking about Dragon Week, more specifically how Niantic completely screwed up this special Ultra Unlock. A lot of players were really excited about this event, but because of a couple of missteps, Niantic really dropped the ball and made this event an absolute failure. Now, I try not to criticize Niantic as much as possible, but anytime they deserve criticism, I try to be as constructive as possible. So I'm going to be giving my constructive feedback regarding this event and what they could have done better. Obviously, a lot of players are extremely upset and they're being really toxic towards Niantic, and I absolutely do not want to promote that. I mean, yes, we do have a reason to be upset. I mean, this was a huge misstep from Niantic, but at the same time, I try to give them the benefit of the doubt. I do think they are trying to give us positive experiences in Pokemon GO. They just will make some mistakes here and there. So I want to talk about this week in particular because I think one of the big problems that Niantic had with this event is that they communicated poorly and set some incorrect expectations among players. When they first announced this event, they put a big emphasis on Dino as being a Pokemon that's going to be the highlight of this event. And of course, with that, they failed to mention that Dino was actually going to be a Pokemon that we probably wouldn't be getting throughout the event. Sure, we would be getting 2 Dino from the limited special research, but that's not going to be enough. When it comes to Pokemon GO, every player wants to get certain Pokemon en masse, whether it be for candies, for evolutions, or if it's because they're after a certain shiny. So naturally, a lot of players are going to be upset that there's just not going to be that many Dino that we could potentially get out of this event. And for them to highlight this Pokemon, saying that it's going to be the brand new shiny, it's going to be natural that players are going to expect to get this new shiny by farming up as much as they can. But of course, because Dino is not spawning in raids and because we're only able to get 2 Dino out of the limited special research, a lot of players were looking to 7km eggs as being the avenue for getting this new shiny. But here lies the major problem with this event. They made Dino be an extremely rare spawn within 7km eggs. I know a lot of players were expecting to get a whole bunch of Swablu and Dratini and Trapinch aside from getting Dino, but the rate at which we get Dino from 7km eggs is even lower than what players had anticipated. There are players who have hatched hundreds of 7km eggs at this point, and they've only gotten 1 or 2 Dino. That's a rate of about 2%, which is ridiculous. I mean, let's be real, guys. If we knew that this was basically going to be a Dratini/Trapinch event, but there was a very small possibility that we could possibly get a shiny Dino from a 7km egg, I feel like that would have gone a lot better. But they really set the expectation as this being some sort of Dino event where we're going to be seeing Dinos left and right, and that is obviously not the case. So naturally, yeah, players are going to be really upset. I mean, this really doesn't help anybody. Like, if you think about the free-to-play players who are only hatching a couple of eggs at a time, like, they're obviously not going to get shiny Dino, or their chances of getting a shiny Dino are ridiculously low. But even for the whales who are spending hundreds of dollars to hatch as many eggs as they can, even they are not able to get shiny Dino because of the abysmally low rate. And I think this creates a huge problem for Pokemon Go as a whole, because if you think about other games that have similar mechanics, like a lot of those games are going through a lot of different controversies because of greediness and different gambling mechanics that are being exposed. Like, Niantic is not free from any of this sort of criticism. Like 7km eggs, they are basically the loot boxes of Pokemon Go, and Niantic needs to acknowledge that. And when it comes to loot boxes and other games, a lot of those companies need to disclose the rate at which you can get certain items and certain characters out of those loot boxes because of different laws, different consumer practice laws in different countries. But Niantic, through some sort of loophole, has not been required to do that when it comes to eggs. But I really think that we're getting closer to a point where this sort of mechanic is going to be exposed, and a lot of players are going to be really upset towards Niantic, and on top of that, a lot of different countries are going to turn a negative eye towards this game. Now, at the top of this video, I mentioned that Niantic completely lost touch with the community and what the community is expecting with this event. Well, that is a lot to do with their own form of communication. The fact that they advertised this event as being a big event for Dino, a Pokemon that a lot of players really covet, it just... Unfortunately, they set some very terrible expectations, and now players are upset. And that's really what it comes down to here, and that is player expectations. Now, I'm not saying that it's the player's fault that they're not getting shiny Dino. As a matter of fact, I would say it's completely on Niantic for setting the wrong expectations. If players knew that it would be near impossible to get shiny Dino, then I think a lot less people would be upset. But and that's just not the case, because they really highlighted this as a big chance for you to get shiny Dino, when in reality, it would have been impossible to get this Pokemon. I think this was a huge misstep on Niantic. Not only did they nerf down the rate at which we could have possibly gotten Dino, but I really think they set the wrong expectations, and that's really what it comes down to. Now, when it comes to the event itself, I think it was pretty lackluster. I don't see the appeal of throwing in Rayquaza in raids. I mean, Gible in raids was a pretty good thing, but yeah, the big highlight behind this event would have been Dino. And if they had Dino spawning in mass, or if they were spawning very frequently in eggs, I think the event would have gone down a lot better. But there really isn't anything to be excited about with this event, aside from maybe picking up a few more shiny Rayquazas. But of course, this is the second time we've had Rayquaza in raids, so I really can't see that as being a good focal point for this event. You gotta understand that this was supposed to be a huge reward for Pokemon Go Fest. It was supposed to be something that we celebrated Pokemon Go Fest for, but it's turning out to be a major disappointment. It's creating a lot of negative sentiments in the community, and I really think Niantic needs to make it up to us in some way. I think for a long time now, players have been debating whether or not the community has gotten a lot more toxic, if players are complaining just for the sake of complaining, or if the game is actually in a really good place and players are just not seeing it that way. But I honestly think this is one instance where the players are correct to complain. I think Niantic just did not do this one right. That's really what it comes down to. And look, I'm not even upset that I'm not getting a shiny Dino. By all means, I might end up getting lucky and picking up a shiny Dino tomorrow through an egg hatch. But it's really not about that. It's about how Niantic set up this event. It's the expectations that they placed on players, that players were expecting a certain thing when Niantic was not intending to deliver on that. It's just something that they really need to stop doing, like overhyping these events, setting unrealistic expectations because of the way they word these events, like the way they describe how these events are going to go down. Like, they really need to be better at that. Like, communication has always been an up and down thing when it comes to Niantic, so it's something that they really need to work on. Yes, they have some really great team members that are really good at communicating, but they really haven't been building upon this core aspect of their company, you know? Like, I really wish they just simply communicated better that Shiny Dino is not going to be something that is going to be abundant. Much like with Shiny Gibble when that was released, they did not really accept the expectation that everyone was going to walk out with a Shiny Gibble. And I feel like they've been falling back on certain keywords that's been to their own detriment. Like, just simply saying, if you are lucky, is not going to cut it. Like, I think a lot of players are going to hear that and assume they're going to be the lucky ones, and that's something that they really need to avoid. I mean, if it was up to me, I wouldn't have highlighted Dino as the signature Pokemon for this week. I would have simply said something like, we are releasing Shiny Dino into the wild, but it's going to be extremely rare and not a lot of players are going to have it. Yeah, if I was blunt like that, maybe less people would be excited in the first place, but I wouldn't be setting some incorrect expectations and getting players disappointed. Honestly, that's what they should have been doing. And when it comes to 7km eggs, they really need to disclose the different rates because players are spending a ridiculous amount of money not getting what they want out of it, and it's going to create some legal troubles in the future. I'm really worried that Niantic is on a very slippery slope when it comes to 7km eggs and eggs in general, that eventually they are going to face some legal battles with different countries who are very strict against loot boxes because, let's be real here, eggs are the loot box of Pokemon Go. And if Niantic doesn't handle that correctly, it's going to completely blow up in their face. And we've already seen this with a lot of other game studios. I'm really worried about this one particular area. I think Niantic needs to realize that egg hatching and buying incubators is a huge source of revenue for their game. A lot of players dedicate a lot of their resources and a lot of their money into buying incubators in order to get certain shinies and certain Pokemon. So they really have to respect the players when it comes to this. They can't just abuse it and they can't just take advantage of their players. If people are spending money in this one part of the game, then they have to respect that. They have to actually show some rewards to get people to feel justified for spending that money. That's really what it comes down to. But yeah, these are just my own thoughts and opinions. I really think Niantic had a huge misstep here, but I really think that when it comes to the next 2 Ultra Unlock weeks, they have a lot of ground to make up in order to stay positive within the community because they've been having a lot of ups and downs with the community for the last couple of months, and I really think this was one of those moments where it was a huge dip. But I'm really hoping that Niantic bounces back here. I know they are capable of doing it. They just have to make the game exciting and reward players for their hard-earned money or their hard-earned work. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, is that they need to throw us a bone here. Like increasing the shiny rate is not necessarily going to hurt the game. I mean, there's going to be plenty of other rare Pokemon that eventually show up, and making one Pokemon super rare and getting us hung up on it, that's only going to create a lot of negative sentiments. But yeah, that's just my thoughts. I would love to know your thoughts down below. Of course, this is a really big hot topic right now in the Pokemon community. A lot of people have a lot of different opinions here and there, so I would love to know. Let's have a great discussion down below. And yeah, if you enjoyed this, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if it's your first time here. I am Count Jinsula, and I'll catch you all later.